Hey guys, Jack the Caver. Thanks for watching. If you know me, I do love caves. I love exploring them. I love studying them. I love telling people and sharing them with everyone. But I also love the history of the men and women who came generations before us and made some amazing achievements and discoveries in caves. And so the following clip, you don't have to be a caver at all to enjoy listening to this following video that I've included. If you like good adventure stories, life and death situations, a good mystery, I think you'll enjoy this story. This story is told by a man named Claude Hunt. This is an audio recording that someone did back in the 1970s. And he is in the cave showing people an amazing discovery that he and 3 other men made in the 1930s. And so he stops and he recounts this tale, and it's amazing to think of what they went through. So enjoy this clip. Now don't forget, like my channel, subscribe to it, share it with others, please. Keep coming back. I'm going to add more and more stuff all the time. So we do really appreciate you stopping and watching the videos, and I hope everybody enjoys the following clip. Thanks.
And he sent Carl and Leo Hunt, Carl Hansen and Leo Hunt, down to get some Alice fish out of Roaring River. Now that's another river, just a different name. It's a continuation of Echo River. And they went down to look for these Alice fish, and they had these boats, flat-bottom boats. They had to pull along and carry over places where the water wasn't deep enough for the boat to float. Some places the water was so high you'd have to push the boat down in the water to get under the low arch. And that was pretty hard work, dragging the boats along. And they happened to see this crawlway, Leo and Carl did, leading off from the main passageway down along Roaring River. They decided to look it out, see what was in it. So they went up in this passageway, I guess I would say maybe a quarter of a mile, and they come to a big stone that had blocked the passageway entirely. They decided to come back, but they noticed it looked like it widened out on the other side. They came out of the cave that day, and they went to the chief guide, Mr. Marna Charlet, and asked him for more help. Maybe if they could get by this big, large stone that had dropped down and stopped the crawlway up. If they could get by that, it might open up into more cave on the other side. Well, we knew that there should be a lot of cave under Lee Ridge. That's a big ridge. Now, most of you people might have heard them talk about it since you've been here. But that's where all this cave is under. It's called Lee Ridge up on top in the forest. So he asked for volunteers. Well, me and Pete at that time, right down our alley, was about 18 years old. We volunteered to come with Leo Hunt and Carl Hansen to help them with the boats and to help them explore past the big rock. So I guess I've already told you about the river, how dangerous it is. Sometimes it comes up, rises 5 feet an hour. Some places we had to push the boat down in the water to get room to go under. You couldn't see out on either side of the boat. You had your lanterns down in the boat. Well, we got to this first crawlway from the river. I believe that was one of the most dangerous places because it was wet. Anytime you get down along the river, you'll find that it's damp and slippery. And this crevice that the crawlway opened up into was very slippery. Some places you would have 1 foot, say the passageway was 5 feet wide maybe. You have 1 foot on one side, the other foot on the other side, and hunting your steps as you go along because you're the first one through there, see. And down below you, maybe 40 or 50 feet to water. So I'll have to tell this little story. One Ed asked me to tell it. We was going along in this passageway, which we named the Valley of Shadows. Valley of Shadows. Oh, I don't know. We was singing some kind of song or something. Leo didn't like the song. This is my cousin, Leo Hunt. And he got all listening to the song, trying to find his way into it, and he dropped his lantern. And that thing's still falling, I believe. It fell. We could hear it bounding from ledge to ledge down below us, you know. He said if we hadn't been singing that song, it wouldn't happen in the first place. That's the kind of guy he was. He just loved to say anything funny, you know, and it got us in good mood then. So we went on through this narrow crevice. I'll say half a mile, maybe a mile. And it come to water again. So we had to wade in water up around our waist and under our arms. Hold your lantern over your head. Not much space above your head. Expecting to open up any time, see. Well, that water's pretty cold and you get pretty wet. So we happened to, I guess we'd gone along like this for 5, maybe 10, 15 minutes, and it did open up, a little passageway off to the right, and we crawled up in that, kind of dry off. And it continued on, so we decided to go on. And that's when we came to the big rock that had the passageway stopped entirely. And we decided if we'd get under it, well, we could go on. There wasn't any room underneath it, and we looked over the top and around. There wasn't any place to go. So we dug out from under the bottom of this big stone. And you lay down flat. To slide under, you lay your lantern like this, Coleman lantern, down flat to go under. You feel your top and bottom rub as you go under. Well, I had to experience, I don't know if the other guys did, I don't see how they got by it. I had to experience getting halfway through, and there was a loose stone under me in the sand, and it was kind of lopsided. And when I tried to go forward, it pushed up and pushed me up against the top tight. Well, I said, I better go back. So I tried to go back and did the same thing. Well, you know who I thought about then, Floyd Collins. So I started digging, got this stone out from under me. And of course, that was the first thing I should have done in the first place. Got the stone out and went on through. But I'll bet we didn't go 100 yards from there and raised up into a stoopway. We're still crawling when we passed that, but when we got past that, I'll say 100 yards, it opened up into a pretty good sized cave, maybe 10 or 15 feet wide, and looked big to us, maybe 20 feet high. After going through all that. Now this we've been going, I guess, maybe 12 hours then, roughing it through Valley of Shadows and the crawlways and things. So this led us into the, well, what I was speaking about, this little larger cave, and it was dry. We knew it was probably up on the second level, maybe third, or the second level, because we could begin seeing this dry gypsum formation, and it only formed mostly on the second level of the cave. Well, we kept continuing on, and we come to another crawlway. And we crawled about halfway through this one, and decided to rest a while. Was laying down resting, and Pete Hansen decided he'd come on up a little closer to see if it did open up. And after we rested a little, we'd try it some more. And once he come out right here, he was laying on kind of on his side there with his lantern out under there, and he could see this big open space where we're standing now. And he says, "Come on, boys, we're into another world." Now he was looking out in this space right here. So you can imagine how you'd feel after you'd been in a crawlway for maybe 10 or 12 hours and see it open up into a cave like this. So that's where the big excitement started, was when we got out here. You wondered what was around the next bend because you had another world to walk in. And when you walk through here the first time, I doubt if there's anyone here that can imagine the experience, the feelings you have, if you've never been exploring, or maybe I have a pretty good idea how the astronauts felt when they first stepped on the moon because they made the first track there. Well, a lot of these passageways we walk through now, they're just like it was the day we walked in, except where you was walking, especially the first part of Fossil Avenue, where you're walking in sand. Well, you can imagine if you walk along, you're making the first track. You look back, there's one set of tracks, but no tracks out in front of you. Then you get a pretty good thrill. So that gives you an idea of what exploring's like when you get into it.
How long did you stay in, Carl?
28 hours.
28 hours?
28 hours from the time we come in till we got out. So that means all day, all night, and maybe the next morning. Now, one time, I believe this guide that was with us on the all-day trip, she's in this part, she asked me if there's anyone worried. I would say so. My dad and mother both was worried, and the chief guide was worried, because they didn't know where we was. They had an idea the direction we went, and they knew we left from Rowan River, but how would they know that had been no one there? So we was on our own. And like I said about Rowan River, it does rise 5 feet an hour. I have seen it come up that fast. Well, you can imagine, because we didn't find any other way out. Till this day, there's no way out of here except naturally, except right back through here, through all this we went through, and across Rowan River, Echo River, and out the natural entrance. Well, if we was gone 28 hours, you can imagine how I felt when I got back to Rowan River and found it dropped down about 6 inches. I guess that was next to the feeling I had when I crawled out here the first day. I was pretty happy. Yeah.
Did you had the anxiety of thinking if it rained and the water came up,
Yeah.
you knew you were drowned?
Oh, yeah, sure we did. But we just took that chance. You do that when you're
Crazy.
crazy.
One more thing.
You said, this guy could have thought of it, I know.